For October the 18th, 2019, we talk about Untitled Goose Game, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and how Blizzard chose money over democracy. Welcome to Level 302. My name is Kole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm David Meisman.
And I'm Ben Merkel.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. Back after an unexpected week off. Thank you for your patience. This feels like a bad time to tell you, but we're not going to be here next week either. No, because I'll be, as of the time we're recording, I will probably be in a plane over, I don't know, maybe Illinois. Yeah, no, that is
amazing.
That is the night that I'll be flying back from Portland Retro Gaming Expo. So that is unfortunate, but hopefully I will have cool stuff to talk about. The week after that. That's what's going on with me though. All that I've got is getting ready for Portland, which is always a big deal. Ben, how about you? Well, go ahead.
I have a Portland centric question for you.
Okay.
Have you been to Pine State Biscuits when you've gone to Portland before?
No. Pine State Biscuits.
Yeah, it's a really good biscuits and gravy place. You might feel like slightly horrible for a couple hours afterwards, but it's still worth it. So,
yeah. It's just like a lot of those destination eating places is going to be, you're not going to blow it out on, a salad.
Yeah.
I have not heard of a destination salad, which is there are plenty of fine salads, but I don't know if I would like go on a drive or take transit to get a special one.
Would you call Dewey's a destination salad place?
I've never had Dewey's salads. Referring to
why would you get salad from Dewey's?
Well, okay. So just for people who are not from the Cincinnati area, Dewey's is a pizza place in the Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky area.
No, it is a pizza place.
It extends to Columbus as well.
Does it? Oh, it is still very, very regional.
It is.
And they serve big specialty pizzas. Like if you look at their menu, they're all organized around themes and stuff. There are plenty of them that have like corn on the pizza or what have you. I'm fond of just the regular pepperoni slice, but I've not had the salad at Dewey's.
This is what I get when I come into town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell me what's special about the salad at Dewey's?
They have a harvest salad that has like pumpkin seeds, dried figs, some type of cheese that I forget. Mm-hmm. They have a candied walnut salad that's delicious with grapes as well. I don't know. Their salads are just bomb. Gotcha. It's one of the first places where I've been like, oh yeah, you could just have a salad as a meal if you make this quality of salad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would not have expected that.
Yeah.
But,
all right.
I don't know.
We should mention at this time that we are now sponsored by Dewey's. Thank you for that.
That would be really weird.
That would be amazing.
What are you up to, Ben?
Oh, not much. I had a work-filled week last week, and so this week is a fun-filled week, I think. Just because I'm not going to be doing a whole bunch of work. Yeah. So I will have a normal life again, so that'll be nice.
That's good. You don't have to live in fear of being paged.
Yeah. And fun Ben-themed developments. I got an AeroPress coffee maker, so I've been making a lot of coffee for myself lately. It tastes delicious.
It's very good.
What is a AeroPress?
It's like a cylinder with a seal, and what you do is you pour the coffee in there, mix it up, and then you put a filter on top of it, flip it upside down over a cup, and then you plunge it through. Mm-hmm. And so,
isn't that a French press?
It's like that, but
it gets a I don't know like the specifics. It makes more of an espresso like cup. So you make yourself an Americano because it's really concentrated. So you top it off or you fill it up with a little bit of hot water. And it just turns into a good, smooth Americano. It gets that stronger extraction by being really like vacuum sealed, pretty much. It's like a rubber plunger that goes down, as opposed to, and that pushes everything through a filter, as opposed to you pushing the metal filter down through the water and getting the grounds to the bottom. It's a little bit like a coffee syringe, which sounds like a terrible idea, but actually works.
Coffee baster.
Yeah. I'm just surprised no one has invented the coffee syringe yet.
I mean, they may have, but then they might have died before they, told anybody about it.
Reported the results.
Yeah. No, the AeroPress is good for making iced coffee too. If you just if you push it out over a glass of ice, it'll end up pretty good.
But yeah, I think this is also a good economic decision because AeroPress costs like $20, and so you make up money like very quickly if you go to coffee shops often.
Oh, as opposed to going out, absolutely.
Yeah, and because before I was looking like at espresso machines because I just wanted to make a nice cup of coffee, but it's like, wow, I don't want to spend that much money on making coffee. So.
Espresso machines, you can get into like, I mean, a commercial ones will be thousands, but
yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah. I was going to say, perhaps it was bad because I asked somebody who works at a coffee shop about what espresso machines to get. So I might have gotten the high end of the spectrum of...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, it just, what is it? A poor man can't afford anything but the best. I'm not saying you're a poor man, but there is wisdom in buying the expensive version of something just for durability purpose. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's cool. You're walking down the fancy coffee corridor. Is what it is.
Very quickly, because I just had some coffee, yeah.
Very cool. David, how about you? What's up?
Honestly, not too much. Just kind of same old around here.
Cool. Any cool fall activities in the NYC?
Honestly, not really that I can think of. I mean, obviously all the shops are, decorating around with stuff, things like that. The big thing will be Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, but I'm going to be back in Mansfield then, so.
That's probably for the better.
How wintry is it there right now?
How what?
Wintry is it there right now? Is it cold there?
Not too bad. I have my heat on very, very low, but it's kind of in the category of like I have it because I want to be warmer, not so much because it's too cold, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, but yeah, it's actually not too bad yet. How is it out where you guys are at?
It just got really cold like 2 weeks ago, so we went straight from like summer to winter very quickly.
Yeah, I'm living the dream right now. It is like the perfect amount of crisp overnight that just feels so good to snuggle up under the covers. And I mean, until it was dark, the boys and I were out playing in the backyard tonight, so it was perfect. We made a campfire, did some s'mores just cause. It was awesome.
I like that.
I mean, we've got 3 days of this kind of weather before it's too cold, but it's nice while it's here.
I like that you can use the term "me and the boys" like literally and not figuratively.
You're not quoting drill.
Furia and Sons was in the backyard.
Very cool. No, it's it's quite pleasant here, although we have a frost warning tonight, so I had to bring my bonsai tree inside.
Oh yeah, bonsai is not a great thing to be outside in winter in Ohio.
Which is incredibly ironic.
Yeah, I just it's a succulent is the kind that I bought. So just because it's low maintenance. However, you don't want to you don't want it to get singed by the frost. Yeah. Dennis, there's nothing too much going on with you, so I think we can skip you.
No, nothing at all happening.
Yeah, no. You responded sarcastically, so I guess I'll give you a chance. Well, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, Man, do I have enough irons in the fire right now. Most of them revolve around Deck of Wonders, which I've talked about several times on the show.
Yeah.
Good Lord. First off, I didn't even tell you guys this before we started. I won $500 in a pitch competition over the weekend.
What?
Oh, cool.
This was at Ocean Conference, which is a faith and entrepreneurship conference that my church puts on. And so it was a pitch competition with, I think there were close to 70 people in it. It was not like gaming specific at all, so I didn't have an edge from that, or it wasn't even in that field, and took third.
Fantastic.
So that's a nice little wad of cash headed my way. And so, yeah, super excited about that. Then I went to Sin City Con on Friday night and Saturday, which is a local board gaming convention. And thanks to the people at Cincinnati Arsenal Gaming, which is kind of like a development group in the city, I was actually at a table for this convention instead of at the Starbucks across the street, which was nice. And it meant that pretty much everyone who came to talk to me actually sat down and played the game. Which was fantastic. And, you know, it can be painful watching it when someone like doesn't get one of the rules, or like you see really quickly where you can improve just clarity. But overall, I couldn't have been happier with the way the game played. I've been targeting kind of a 30% win rate for the game. That felt like the right level of difficulty. So it felt like an accomplishment when you won, but you were still, you know, still challenged, and literally had 3 out of 10 games be wins.
Nice.
So I was feeling pretty right on about that. So that was nice. And the buy rate was 250% of Gen Con. So while I talked to fewer people, they were buying games way more frequently.
More of them went through. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So that was exciting. I felt bad because apparently there was some person who was like trying to find me to talk to me and play the game all day.
Oh, really?
And every time I would swing by the main booth to drop off the little time card they had to track, like, you know, how many people you have at your table, they're like, "Oh yeah, so and so was just looking for you," and I find them. So
there's only so much you can do. It's not your problem if he couldn't find you at the table you were sitting at.
Yeah, you guys, I literally like went to get lunch, which took maybe 3 minutes because there's a little concession stand right outside.
Yeah.
And I didn't even go to the bathroom during the day. I don't know how this person couldn't find me. So if that's you and you're listening to this podcast for some reason, I'm sorry. We'll find that and make it work. But anyway, so
we'll put a tile tracker on Dennis.
Yeah.
They were probably just waiting by the bathroom, like, he has to stop here sometime today.
Yeah, right.
Oh, God.
So to cap all that off, I today launched the GoFundMe campaign for Deck of Wonders. And I originally was thinking about going to Kickstarter, but some stuff happened that we'll talk about later in the show that inspired me to go to GoFundMe and have kind of a charitable slant to the campaign. Kickstarter doesn't let you fundraise for charity for whatever reason. So I was there, kind of put it out in a couple places on the internet. And Reddit in particular was just a graveyard. Like I put it out there, not a single upvote, not a single comment.
You were living the worst nightmare of anybody who has tried to fund something online.
Yes, like, oh my God. And was trying to figure out what the hell is going on here until I realized that Reddit auto mods all GoFundMe links.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. You know, I don't hold that against them. It just gave me a freaking heart attack for a couple hours today, thinking I'd slipped into the shadow zone or something. So if you're listening to this now, hey, the campaign is live. You can actually go to bit.ly/DOWGFM. So Deck of Wonders GoFundMe through Bitly.
And there will be a link on this page as well. Yeah. On the podcast notes.
Yes, thank you. And you can check it out right now. And I'm sure as I reset and figure out how to get around this spam filter, I will be all over the internet in places. Yeah. So go check out Deck of Wonders. I'm sure I'll talk about it more because I've been playing it a lot this week. But that is a huge thing up for me.
Is there how long does the campaign go, or is it just keep it up until until you hit the goal kind of thing.
Since I was forced to GoFundMe, I'm kind of happy I went there, because they not only do they not have you don't have to set a firm end date for your campaign, but you also, at the end of it, you just keep whatever you fundraise, versus like failing if you don't hit the goal.
Yeah, it's like flex funding.
So, yeah, and I'm at the stage where every little bit helps. So you can get a special prototype version of the game, print and play. So you know, it's not just charitable giving. You're also getting something pretty sweet from it. And yeah, that's been me, apart from enjoying the fall weather.
Fantastic. Well, I'm really excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Well, it seems like we've got the regular kind of show to do. Do we have agreement that it is time to move on to the regular kind of show?
The regular show. I feel like
I mean, it's a television show on Cartoon Network starring a bird and a raccoon, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but we've got the the grind, the multiplayer, and then we're going to finish out with the end boss. Probably a little bit more, let's just say, cranky and indignant on the end boss section, based on the links that I see here. But the only game news is really frustrating and about authoritarianism. So that's a bit of a preview. But before we get there, we've got more pleasant things to go through in The Grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the last period of time or so. Looking here, all of us were on last time. I went last time, so I guess I'll go first. Let's just go. We'll go ahead.
You went last time, or you went first last time?
I went last time.
Okay. You went first last time.
What?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't make any sense. No. We'll just go in reverse order from last time. Is how I will do that. Not a whole lot. I mentioned that I was going to be playing Untitled Goose Game, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I kind of bounced off of it.
Can you explain?
It's only a 6-hour game too.
Like, what is this? This is the game I've heard probably the most about without learning anything about the game other than that contains a goose.
Yeah, it's a goose, and he is like a wizard. He creates problems on purpose.
So it's Goat Simulator with the goose?
So Goat Simulator is kind of more of a, like, it plays more like a like Tony Hawk almost. This is more like it is a puzzle game that has a stealth element. So you walk in, you're kind of working your way through this neighborhood, and you're playing as the goose. It's like a top-down kind of feel. The art style is incredibly charming. The sound is, really endearing. Like, everything about it, like, aesthetically is, top-notch, thumbs up. But you walk into a new part of the neighborhood, and then you get a to-do list. And the to-do list has to do with, like, causing general havoc for the people in that area. So it's like, in the first one, there's a gardener, and you have to steal his keys off of his belt loop and then drop them into the lake. And then you have to break his rake, and then there's an empty.
Wait. It's Rakin Lake.
Rakin Lake. You break the broom. Okay, sorry. You're right. I just in reaching for you
break the second area person's broom, not the gardener's.
Right. Okay. Sorry.
I have played this game as well. Spoiler alert.
Okay, cool. So you can fire in, and it's nothing just like negative about it. It's like I really enjoy the idea of it, in that it is spawned an awful lot of very fun gameplay videos. The memes about it are very funny, like the goose, as just this honking avatar of chaos is a very entertaining idea. And I think that has an awful lot to do with like the zeitgeist, with how it, with how it made as big of a splash as it did. I'm just not having an awful lot of fun playing it.
Yeah.
While enjoying the situations. That it puts you into, like, the stealth feels just a little bit busted to me, and there's just a little bit of frustration. Like, I'm not having fun figuring out how to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. So it just kind of it falls down as both a stealth and a puzzle game for me. And so I would kind of just like to watch a video of somebody who's good at it, and then like that would be the enjoyment that I get out of it. I'm happy with them having my money. It's like it is a game that has brought joy into the world. I just don't know that I like it in my hands.
Yeah, I find the older I get, the more games there are that fall in the I want to just watch someone who's good at this category, and I worry what that means.
I don't know.
This is getting kind of like separate conversation-y, but yeah, I think the more you play games like years-wise, the higher your bar goes, because you're kind of judging all the games over the last 10 or 20 years. Yeah. And so it does feel like there's less and less games that you're really interested in because they don't really stand up against the longer time that you've played games, you know? Mm-hmm. But no, I felt pretty similarly to this game, where I think it should be like twice the length and half the cost of what it is, maybe, for it to be a better value proposition for me, at least. But yeah, I did notice that while I was playing it. It's like, this feels oddly like a Hitman game when they do not look very, you wouldn't think that at first blush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, my favorite meme for this I've seen is just like the duck, wandering around, and then JFK in the motorcade, and then just like nothing else, just you fill in the blanks.
Well, it's just a picture of JFK in the motorcade, and the honk is coming off, is coming from off the frame. Yeah.
It is
back into the rook.
It is interesting that they have button dedicating to honking, a button dedicating to fawning, just like spreading out your wings and flapping them at people. And those don't have any they have very little gameplay value to them, or the fawning I don't think has a gameplay purpose at all outside of just being entertaining,
Yeah. I used it when I scared the kid. I don't know if that was necessary though.
Just honking.
I feel like that's like goose self-defense, right?
Yeah, make yourself look big so something gets scared of you. Yeah.
What button do you push to do that bird thing where they like shake their head and then it kind of travels down their neck and along their body out through their tail? You know what I'm talking about? Like the progressive body shake?
I don't know. That's going to be, it's going to be added in a patch.
No, the expansion is frolicking.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty short game too. I think there's 5 or 6 areas to the game. So it's not that long. How many areas have you gotten through, Kole?
I think I'm in the 3rd one. Like, I'm in the area that has the guy lounging reading the paper. And you have to wash their clothes by grabbing his slippers and some stuff off their laundry line, and then a bar of soap and putting it in the fountain.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, just like describing that, it sounds like a whimsical, fun time. It just you are a goose making people's lives worse, but not like, terribly worse. But yeah, just I found myself like being chased away from stuff, and I don't know why they spotted me, etc. And I don't have the patience to figure it out. So I would, given how much time I spent on this, and the fact that I don't have what feels like anything substantial to say about it, I would have skipped over this. But I mentioned that I was going to be playing it.
You peer pressured yourself into playing it?
No, just I'd already bought it by the time that I mentioned, like, oh yeah, and I'll have this to talk about. And it was in the zeitgeist, like I said. Although those memes have kind of petered out.
To the game's credit, I do think they do a really good job of coming up with creative ways for you to interact with the world. Like there's a lot of there's a lot of cool things to do. I guess maybe an example, this is like in the 2nd level, so maybe it's not a spoiler or it's not too spoilery, but there's like one place where you can go into a TV store, and then there's like all the cameras focusing on you, so you can like walk really close to the camera and honk at the camera and stuff, and you have like a zoomed in picture of yourself. Yeah. There's just like a lot of like really creative things in the environment. Like, it's a really like well fleshed out environment. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Duck Game, like another game that I've been playing, the multiplayer game. because like that's another game where the mechanics are kind of deeper than you expect. Like it looks like kind of like a simple fighting game. Yeah, I don't know. So it's a game that I respect more than I enjoy playing, I would say.
Yeah. That comports.
But I will say that it is worth it to play it to the end of the game. So I would say stick with it. It's like it takes like maybe 6 hours or so. But
worst comes to worst, there are lists that you can find of the different objectives, and it will tell you step by step how to do it. Like, I can see that.
That was one thing I was surprised by, though. I thought it would be a longer game than what it was. Yeah. But that's fine.
It's real modest.
Yeah.
But yeah, my favorite thing that I've done, it's in the second area as well, was steal a kid's toy plane and then force him to buy it back from the store. Yeah, that was.
Have you tripped the kid? Have you messed with his shoelaces?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you can take his glasses from him and give him store-bought glasses.
Yep, give him the wrong glasses.
You can wear some risky business glasses. That's pretty great.
This isn't right.
Is there a bonus level where you get to see the therapy sessions you caused?
They're just sitting in an institution, just drawing pictures of the goose with X's over the eyes. Yeah. The other thing that I've been playing is something that is available on the recently released Apple Arcade, which is I'm having more fun with Apple Arcade than I expected to. What the Golf?
Oh yeah.
What a delightful little game. I think that it is going to be coming out on Steam here eventually. I'm looking. Yeah, it looks like there's a timed exclusivity thing. So yeah, this is a golf game that really isn't about golf. In fact, they call it, their tagline is a golf game for people who do not know about or do not care about golf. Something like that. And so there's a hub world. Everything you're playing as just a golf ball who is bouncing around this little science area. It's like a little facility, and you by running into golf pins that are on the floor, you go into specific little levels.
Golf pins?
Yeah, the pin, the flag that goes in the hole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's called a pin?
Yes.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you go in, and like there's a progression, like at the start, where it's this. It actually looks kind of similar to Untitled Goose Game, and that it is this flat shaded kind of pastel kind of thing. Where like, okay, at the start, you're just dragging, and then when you release the power meter, it sends the golf ball over toward the pin. And cool, that's it. You got this. And then the next one, instead of hitting the golf ball, or instead of sending the golf ball flying, you actually send the golfer flying. He like ragdolls. And pretty much in no two holes or no two little stages do you actually control the same thing. It feels like. And you go through these themed little worlds that are actually themed after other indie games. And there are so many of these that it's actually kind of difficult. I need to look at what I need to do is look at screenshots to remind myself of what's going on. But there's like a set based on Portal where you have these different little moving portals that you have to shoot through in order to use the physics to get the ball into where it's going to go. There's one that is based off of Super Hot, where there are enemies on the stage, and they only move when the ball is moving, and they will fire guns out of their golf club. They will fire bullets out of their golf clubs at you.
Oh, that's great.
And then when you take them down, you can pick up their clubs, and then your next shot will actually shoot that type of bullet, so you can take them out. So you are playing Super Hot effectively, but in this golf game engine. I did one where you're playing as a slice of bread. So it is mimicking I Am Bread or whatever that game is called. I think that's what it's called.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is what it's called.
Yeah, there are some where you're firing. There's a whole one based on sports, so you end up like it's kind of like golf quap a little bit. It's just incredibly inventive, and it's a bunch of these. It's almost like a WarioWare kind of deal, where where every single hole is its own like laugh out loud gimmick. And there are ways that it can get, a little bit trickier. There are like three different ways to complete each stage. Only the basic one is required for most of the time. But you can also choose like a secondary goal or like a challenge goal, when you go back to that hole later on. So it's not just this, little novelty game or this little procession of novelties. Each of those holes does contain multitudes. So like it is incredibly inventive and very generous as a game. I love it, guys.
These holes contain multitudes is going on the title list.
I didn't do that intentionally, but okay. Any questions about What the Golf? If I keep talking, I'm just going to keep fawning. So,
you said it was not on Steam. How did you get it?
Apple Arcade. So I'm playing it on my iPad.
Okay.
Any other questions about What the Golf?
It is also on Switch. I just thought I would comment.
Yeah, no, that would be a good way to play it, I think.
I just want more excuses to say and hear said the term "What the Golf." Just this. It's beautiful. It's the cellar door of our generation.
It is a very good title for a game. So I'm not going to talk about these at length, but recently here I did stream two interesting things insofar as they were never released officially here in America. One of which is called Michigan Report from Hell. And the other,
I feel like that was streamed in America.
I mean, it's been living in America. It's just been existing in America. A lot of people took the name of that game personally, and it's like, no, it's about Lake Michigan, and things go really badly in Chicago, and also it was not made by people who are from here, so they they didn't know how
didn't know that they were accurately describing the area.
Right, Michigan's pretty. I mean, don't drink the water if you can help it, but it's I did that, and then I did Clock Tower, the original Clock Tower, for the SNES. And in America, the first of those games that came over here was for the PlayStation. It was actually Clock Tower 2, and the original was fan translated, and I streamed that as well. Both of them are interesting. I would only recommend playing Clock Tower. Michigan Report from Hell is janky and weapons grade bad.
Is there any continuity between the various clock towers, or is it just kind of a
there are between the first two games? Clock Tower 3, Clock Tower 2 in America is kind of like a Gaiden game kind of thing, not necessarily related, and Clock Tower 3 in America, it's more like a first go at Haunting Ground. Yeah. Yeah, so those are on. They will be on YouTube eventually, but they're the streams are archived on Twitch. I'd recommend taking a look at both of those because they're interesting for different reasons. Yeah, let's see here. Continuing the backward order here, David, what have you been playing?
Sure. So, real brief on the Warframe front because there will always be updates on the Warframe front.
Okay.
I unlocked a new frame that's Mag. I'm sorry, no, I'm trying to unlock Mag. I did unlock Nova, rather. And that's interesting because this is kind of a caster frame, whereas the other ones I've played have generally revolved about pretty strongly around the core weapons play. The big highlight here is you get the ability to slow down enemies and apply a debuff so that when you kill them, they explode.
Okay. And
it's a area of effect, so you can basically create really cool chain reactions.
Okay.
So that's just kind of a thing. It's very much, just continuing on. Maybe more interestingly, I actually picked up the new Ghost Recon. Whereby picked up, I mean, found out that I could sign up for Uplay Plus, and I don't necessarily see myself playing this game for more than a month. So it's, $15 for a AAA game.
For a brand new game. What do you think?
Wow, it's...
I mean, so I asked,
damning wow I've ever heard.
I asked that with I asked that with a little bit of weight to it because I've not read good things.
So, kind of the history of how I got to this is I posted in the games channel on Slack, asking if anyone tried it, what people thought of it, because it's kind of, its basic pitch is up my alley, but got horrible reviews. Someone posted back and said, basically, hey, check out, I think it was the Giant Bomb podcast and the Waypoint podcast.
Okay.
For sort of positive reviews that are basically like, if you listen to this review and it sounds like your thing, you should get this. And it's always hard to say when you go into a game kind of in that way how much you read into it. But from what I've seen so far, I think they're right on in that it's very much a game. It's a very bipolar game. On the one hand, it's very, very, it's still an Ubisoft-ass game. In terms of being set up to be an open world, games as a service type of game.
Okay.
On the other hand, so that's kind of like something you have to accept going in. On the other hand, there's this weird balance where there's clearly a bunch of stuff they put into the game that, they definitely were trying to make it, to make it more original and, to really double down on the, tactical aspects. There's a ton of different character customization. There's some light survival stuff in terms of needing to drink water, things like that. There's, they kind of expand on the stuff they did in Assassin's Creed Odyssey with the giving directions, just kind of relative to landmarks. And they add in your character basically keeps a guidebook of the various things that he's experienced that he doesn't necessarily know the answers to yet. Okay. And so there's kind of a detective work element to it. So there's a ton of stuff in it that, at least to me, it definitely looks like it definitely was a game that was a labor of love type of thing. I think it was the Giant Bomb cast that kind of said, their take on it, which I think, I kind of couldn't say it better myself, is it seems like a game that was going to be super, super original. And then at some point, someone from corporate walked in and was just like, what are you doing? So the other side of the coin is the gameplay itself is this really awkward middle ground between being a action shooter and a stealth game.
Okay.
The enemies AI isn't quite good enough to be a compelling action game.
Okay.
You can take out a entire base by just like sitting in a corner and waiting for them to one after the other, like walk in a door, type of thing.
Sounds very very similar to like earlier Assassin's Creed in that way.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But on the other hand, the stealth is you don't have enough tools to do, say, like in a Far Cry game, where you can, you have a lot of different ways to do stealthy style kills. You can do, bring in animals. You can snipe people. You can, sneak up and stab people, and then do like, stealth attack combos, things like that. It doesn't really have that. So it's sort of a thing where you can't just play it stealthy like a Far Cry or a Metal Gear Solid, but the AI isn't quite smart enough to make the playing an action style really work.
But I mean, it just kind of seems like I like where do the scenario how do scenarios differ from each other aside from just like the enemy loadout and like maybe the setting that they're in?
Yeah, so it's hard to say because honestly, so far I've just been kind of running around the open world a lot. So it's just kind of been open world shenanigans.
Okay.
Which I think overall is, it's probably, indicates a good thing that I was, have been able to get so much mileage out of just kind of running around, screwing around. I do know, there's definitely, like you said, different loadouts, and those can be very relevant to things like only certain enemies can call in reinforcements, things like that. So there definitely is some strategy to taking things out. The other big thing is you're actually, unlike most of these games where you're either fighting like, various non-white people or, fighting like just, some, I don't know, militia or something. Mm-hmm. You're basically the enemies. It's basically someone really, really liked Heart of Darkness.
Okay.
Because the plotline is basically like a special forces guy went rogue, so your enemies, can...
So Far Cry 2 and 3?
Yeah,
a little bit of 4?
Yeah.
Some 5.
So, yeah. It's not the most original in the world, but because of that, your enemies, have, drones and attack helicopters and stuff like that patrolling. Okay. So that is one of the kind of interesting things is it's, very much in your best interest, especially early on, to be very careful of avoiding surveillance.
Okay.
So it does have some things. The other thing that's interesting that I'm wondering if it's going to go anywhere is the setting is basically on some Silicon Valley, Elon Musk type fellows, micronation island.
Okay.
Which one I'm interested to see if they do some sort of, I don't know, weird BioShock or, type thing, or just, any of that plays in. But also that's a good excuse for there to be, an island that's mostly just, swamp and jungle and stuff, to randomly have, science installations and monorails and
just pull over some stuff from Watch Dogs 2. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it sounds like they coded an identity crisis.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit. So I feel like I've got a couple of hopes for this game. One is I could see it being something. I think this is a game that very conceivably, if they, did some patches and just said, hey, all these kind of proto survival features we have, we're going to, actually implement them full on. I could see it being a game where, in, 6 months from now, it's, one of the games that kind of made good and, became wildly successful. Mm-hmm. But more than that, I sort of hope this is, I think, the game that, if you look at the reviews, was, most reviewers basically saying, like, hey, Ubisoft, you need to just stop making the exact same game over and over again.
Yeah, no, it kind of, I was going to ask also, at any point, do you do like tactical squad based shooting? Like, not like, it has to be that to be a Ghost Recon game, but I don't know, that doesn't seem like a niche that's being filled by an awful lot of stuff.
Yeah. So it's definitely, it supports, I believe, up to 4-player co-op. I haven't tried that before.
Okay.
I know that, you can do kind of the coordinated shot type thing. And I know it, you can also actually get a drone to coordinate shots with you, which I think is mostly a concession to solo play, but apparently you can use it in co-op to just, be able to instantly take out an entire base.
Okay.
Which is kind of entertaining. So there are some aspects of that. The other thing I know, and this is just kind of me, reaching, is that, all of the emotes you have very in-depth, various emotes for the, kind of special forces hand sign things.
Okay.
So, I mean, I guess that's something.
Huh.
The other thing that's kind of interesting is it's continuing the march of the tactical Ubisoft games having progressively more and more real-world brands in them.
What brands are present?
So the ones I've seen so far have been 5.11, Blackhawk, Safariland, Oakley, and Tactical Tailor.
Yuck.
Yeah. To be fair, all really good brands that make really good products.
Cool. What are they doing in a video game?
I mean, I've mixed feelings on it because, like, legitimately, like, they probably between themselves make a significant portion of the clothing that your characters would actually be wearing.
Okay.
Add in Go-Ruck and you basically have tactical cornered.
Guy, whoa, Jala just showed up in my house. She says she liked Go-Ruck and she needed to.
Oh.
But yeah, so it's very much one of those things where I can't quite tell if it's if that's kind of cool or kind of creepy or kind of both.
Yeah, I can see it for like sports games when it's emulating something that is already product placement is all hell, and endorsements and stuff. It just feels weird and out of place for brands to be clamoring to be in a game about bloodshed and special ops guys going rogue and Silicon Valley seasteading kind of stuff. I don't know, it strikes me as weird. I mean, in addition to my general antipathy toward product placement and marketing in general. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like, those are all brands that, people who are into like outdoorsy stuff or, any sort of shooting culture, stuff like that, even martial arts culture, like, probably own. Mm-hmm. Most of them I don't, just because I'm too cheap. But that
stuff's expensive.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. But yeah, and similarly, I I wish it would be a little bit more, kind of interact with some of the weirdness of, for example, you're not actually there on a military mission. You're sent there by like the CIA, and this is technically sort of U.S. soil, which
it's kind of a jurisdictional problem.
Yeah, and it's so it's just kind of one of those things. I don't think it's one that does anything bad. It isn't like forget where I read this or heard this, but people point out like in the new Call of Duty, I guess multiplayer, one of the kill streaks is white phosphorus. So it's like, yeah, that's a war crime.
Yeah, no, that sucks.
Yeah, this isn't. I haven't seen anything that's explicitly that.
You should have to play through Spec Ops: The Line before that unlocks.
Yeah, right.
At the same time, living in the world we currently live in, it just seems a little bit weird to me to not engage with that at all.
What do you mean?
Yeah, quantify that.
With just not engage with just kind of the militarism or militarizing of everything.
I just using white phosphorus, it just kind of seems like a way to make people say "fuck yeah" about something that's actually awful.
Oh, I meant more in this game in terms of not interacting with the fact that like what are you really doing there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
it makes me think. It makes me think of the difference between like Call of Duty with Infinity Ward versus I forget the other company that made like the Black Ops or whatever. Where it's like one was like you stab a person and it was like didn't really put any context of it. It's just like you're doing this, and then the other one's like you're stabbing someone. Fuck yeah! Like play American music, It's like,
yeah. So, anything else about Ghost Recon Breakpoint, David?
I think the only other thing is it really disturbs me that this is now a game with both a prefix and a suffix. It's not just Ghost Recon, it's Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon.
Oh, it's been that way forever.
Breakpoint.
Yep. It's been that way forever. It's weird. Tom Clancy games are weird.
Yeah. Also has the dude from Punisher, which is pretty awesome. So.
It has Tom Jane?
Which one?
The Netflix.
Okay. Well, I revealed myself to be old as fuck.
Whatever. That's the good Punisher.
I don't know. It was okay.
Crossbowing and killing John Travolta by dragging him behind a car, I think.
It's kind of grim. Oh, but that Punisher, you know how he do.
Yeah, John Barenthal.
Oh, okay. Huh. Let's see here. Ben, how about you?
So Untitled Goose Game was one of mine. I'm still playing Arkham Knight. That game's I actually feel what people criticized about the game this playthrough of it, where I'm like, man, I don't want to try this tank mission again for like the 5th time. Like I just want to get past this part. So I don't know. I don't know what the difference is between now and me 4 or 5 years ago when I played it for the first time, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a little bit more of a bummer in that sense. I mean, the story's still good. It's still like a really impressive game. It's still like the graphic wise, it still looks great today playing it, and so I mean, it's a very well polished game and a really well made game, I think. That's been the only bummer about it. It is set during Halloween though, so it's becoming more and more appropriate playing it as we get closer to that date. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say about that 5-year-old game, so yeah.
No. And anything else on top of that?
I've been playing Duck Game a little bit. I really like that game. I think I talked about that last time though. It's just a shooter game that you play with your friends, where it's kind of like WarioWare in a sense, where it's really quick mini games, except it's not no variance in what the game rules are. You're always picking up guns or weapons and trying to kill the other person. And the last person alive gets points.
Yeah.
First person to 10 points wins.
It's like little gimmicky micro stages that it puts you into.
Yeah, so there's really interesting things you can do with it, where sometimes the weapons will be like a web where you can tie up the other person, then you can pick them up and throw them off, or like sometimes there's just a giant machine gun at the top of the level, so the first person who can get there can start mowing people down. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's just a drum set in the middle of the level, so one person can go and play drums if they want to do that.
Sounds like a good way to get shot.
Yeah, that can happen. I won playing a saxophone the entire level because the other two people threw grenades at one another and killed one another. That was pretty enjoyable. But yeah,
Nice. Duck game.
That's all I got.
Cool. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, I have been playing more Code Vein.
Cool.
And I've been playing a non-trivial amount more of Code Vein, and I have progressed in Code Vein not at all.
What? Oh,
Not a single bit.
Are you pressing up against a wall?
Nope, I'm pressing up against a gift-giving minigame.
What?
So as you play, you find little trinkets in the world that you can then give to people in your home base, and it's got a little like dating sim game-esque, like, oh, certain people like certain trinkets more, and so
like Danganronpa.
Yeah, exactly. And as you give them, more of that, their dialogue will change, and it's actually got a function where that allows you to get other items from them, like trading points. So there's a whole thing around it. And at the beginning of this week, I logged in and I kind of finished up the area I was at. And I was like, I need to check in home base, and I haven't really been paying attention to the trinkets. I should figure out who should get what, and started researching that, and then going person to person, and then I realized there was one kind of trinket that no one wasn't listed anywhere, and I realized, oh, this is actually a trinket that you give to a merchant that's in the game world. So I traveled out to him, and I was like, oh, I can buy some useful stuff off the merchant. Do you know what the merchant sells? Trinkets for the other players.
Okay.
Or for the other NPCs.
So instead of just finding stuff, you just go and buy the thing you need and then take it back. You're just basically acting as the shipping company for the things they want.
Yes, I'm a trinket mule. So, and it's a whole thing. You gotta make sure you give it the right thing to the right person. I had also been ignoring. I'm gonna mess up the name. It's probably a blood something. But you pick up memories of people, which is part of the lore, that then strengthen the different blood codes, or effectively classes in the game, and give you new abilities through those classes.
Okay.
But every time you unlock, so I had a bunch of them in my inventory, and while I was at home base, I kind of cached all of them in. The thing that happens though is every time you unlock one, you go through the person's memory, like you relive it, which is like really Remember Me. Cool conceit. Yeah, and then that you remember more as their class, and that unlocks their abilities like that. That's really, really cool in concept. Replaying the memories itself, though, is excruciating. It becomes a walking simulator, and you're just walking from vignette to vignette, not even moving. It's just a still model of something from their memory that'll kind of have a spotlight on it, and then that'll go away, and the next one will light up. So you walk over to that and listen to whatever dialogue, and you just kind of go through. So the whole thing, it moves slow. It feels low production value. And sometimes the stories are good, sometimes they're not, but it's just like that takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
So between that and the trinket game, I played it plenty. I just literally did nothing new in the world.
Doing a lot of what feels like low value content.
Yeah, this was like the spring cleaning of the accumulated crap that I'd accrued in all the actual playing the game.
But I mean, was it stopping you from proceeding?
Oh, no, nothing was stopping me from proceeding.
This was just you compulsively trying to finish stuff.
Yeah, and so maybe that's an endorsement of it. I don't know. I looked up and it had been 50 minutes, and I had just exchanged some gifts with my weapons vendor. Okay. I hadn't even bought anything from her. It's just like, here.
Is this a hostage podcast? Dennis, is Code Vein pointing a gun at you off camera?
Yes.
Blink if you're in trouble.
That's right.
You don't sound like you're having fun.
No, I am having fun with the game overall, and like actually playing the game. Here's what it is. I'm more mad at myself than anything else. I thought I was better than this. Like I thought I was above this kind of like little dating game mini. Like there's not like, you know, I thought I was better than this. I thought I had more in me.
Yeah.
But I have fallen
like
prey.
playing Skyrim.
Yeah. No, the game itself is fantastic, and I'm within that. I also did a little bit of work on the training dummy, trying to understand some of my weapons a little bit better. So your home base also has a training dummy that you can activate and then fight against, and see how much damage each attack does, etc. That's hugely useful.
Okay.
And it actually led me to some interesting builds. So there is a variant of your weapon, just like, you know, you could have a magic weapon or a fire weapon in Dark Souls. You can have different weapon variants or upgrades in Code Vein. And I'd found a bayonet, effectively a gun, which is the weapon I'm using, that was the Devour variant. I had no idea what that did. I just realized that it made the weapon attacks slightly weaker when compared to regular weapon attacks of the same level. And I was like, all right, maybe I've got the wrong stat scaling for this, or maybe, you know, I don't understand it. Eventually I looked it up, and I realized it's perfect for me, and it's perfect for bayonets. Mm-hmm. The Devour variant makes your attacks gain more Ichor, and Ichor is like the mana points of Code Vein. Okay. All the naming conventions in this game are just out of left field, so you know, bear with me on it. Mm-hmm. But the bayonet is unique in that the heavy attack is a ranged attack that consumes Ichor. So you get the benefit of always having a ranged attack at your disposal. It's just going to use up your mana points. Mm-hmm. The Devour variant makes the weapon slightly weaker, but makes it regain Ichor points faster. Okay. And so playing the kind of ranged build that I am, this is actually a great weapon for me to find. And so that was fun. I discovered that as well. But this is all running around my freaking home base, not actually in the game world. It's just insane. So you know, it's fun of its own kind, I guess.
Yeah. So if this is the anime dress up vampire game, this is the episode of the dress up anime where the vampires go to the beach at night.
Yes. I guess. Vampire beach episode.
Oh my goodness!
I'm led to believe that's a thing in anime.
Yeah, why not? Sure. Oh. It's there's always some convention to get people in swimsuits. Again, this game continues to have everyone dressed in an extremely horny fashion and play it completely straight. So that has not changed.
Cool.
I also discovered the Blood Code, aka class, that I think I'm going to primarily stick with once I unlock some other things. The game is really generous with letting you change classes. Like, you are not locked into your build at all.
That's cool.
And so it really, you know, rewards experimentation. And I found a class called Hunter that seems to have a lot of buffs and stuff around ranged attacks, around bayonets, which is perfect because that's what I enjoy using. Mm-hmm. The thing that I can't get over is every blood code comes from a revenant, comes from an NPC. Some of them you meet live, some of them you only know them through their memories. The Hunter is one that you only know through his memories. And his name is Kevin.
Okay.
And no shades at the Kevins out there, but I'm sorry, if your name is Kevin, you can't be a vampire. Like, it's not possible.
It's good news. It's really good news. You are immune to the dark gift.
That must be it. So I'm going around and hearing, you know, this badass ranged attack revenant vampire named Kevin. Yeah, it's just, yeah. What can you do? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm having a ton of fun with the game. I can't wait till I'm having a ton of fun with the actual game again.
Until you're making progress.
I swear, I just need a few more relation points. I don't have a problem.
No. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just blink SOS to us if you have any. If you want some help, buddy, we're here for you.
Yeah, never play a Fire Emblem game.
Yes. Does that qualify as a gashapon game? There's no random element to it. It's just I like optimizing the gifts that I give people.
No. Like a gashapon implies that there's like a slot machine that gives you anime husbands. I don't know. I've not played any of the Fire Emblem games that lean into that. So
yeah,
it doesn't sound like there's an awful lot of randomness associated with the stuff you're talking about in Code Vein. So
yeah. So that's the primary thing I've been playing. Man, honestly, yeah, haven't spent much time on other stuff. A little more Beat Saber here and there, just for funsies. Continue to kind of progress on the mastery curve for that, but otherwise, that's me.
Awesome.
Beating your saber.
Yup.
It's a good game.
Beating my saber to my anime husbands. What can I do?
That's not going to be the title.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we ask you a question and then you answer it. Dennis, what is the question that you ask the nice people?
Yeah, so given recent events that we'll talk about in the next section, I wanted to spend some time focusing on game development or gaming companies that are doing it right, that are doing good. So I asked what gaming company deserves recognition for advancing or supporting a social cause.
I think it should be highlighted that we only got 3 responses, so I don't think game companies are doing very much.
Weirdly, I have an answer.
I was gonna say, yeah, didn't realize this was going to be a stumper.
Yeah, we will implement or supplement this with some leftover multiplayer free plays. Sorry, Ollie says, I know it's not a gaming company so much as a company that is heavily linked with games, but Rooster Teeth. I'm going to say Achievement Hunter because Jack Patillo is heavily involved, go to extraordinary lengths to raise money for Extra Life every year. 5 years ago, they raised $270,000. Last year, they raised $1.3 million. Holy God.
Whoa.
Dang.
For a company based around, especially early on, quite dude bro culture, it's great to see.
Yeah.
I had no idea they were pulling those kind of numbers. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it is interesting to watch the people from internet culture in, late high school, early college grow up. And it is a joy when they grow up to be not terrible humans. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You don't have to look back and feel embarrassed. You can look back and be embarrassed about the content. I don't know that I could watch, Red versus Blue now and be like, yeah, all of that is something I would co-sign and endorse. But yeah, it's real cool that they are out there doing the good work. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then let's see here. Dennis, what does Lindsay say?
Lindsay says, Loading Ready Run helped in starting a fundraiser for a charity using the horrible game Desert Bus, a joke game made to utterly bore you out of your mind. To help a charity that helps get toys to kids in hospitals, they started having participants play the game, driving the bus to Las Vegas and back to wherever you start, which I think is on the other side of the country or something.
No, it's
on the other side of the desert.
Yeah, no, I think it's an 8-hour real-time drive, so you start out in California or something like that.
Yeah. It has done well too. I believe last year they brought in $450,000 to the charity Child's Play. Even though the game is a joke, it was used to an amazing cause. I realized Loading Ready Run did not make the game, but I thought it was interesting enough to count. Yeah, I specifically say gaming company to widen it out. So
yeah.
I've watched some of that stream. It is the game is as boring as you would expect, and the stream is as delightful as you would expect.
To add on to the, we only got 3 responses, we got no responses that were actually game makers.
So I'll do mine.
Looking grim, yeah.
I will do mine. Just because it's relatively recent and it relates to something we talked about in the grind. So the studio that made Untitled Goose Game, House, they are based in Australia. And this is more of a symbolic gesture, but it's, it still struck me as kind of cool. I saw a tweet about this where at the very end of their credits, just basically in the headline portion of their special thanks, they say this game was made on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present. Sovereignty was never ceded, is what they say at the end. Huh. Basically saying, hey, we're Australians, and we are, our country is built on stolen land, so we want to pay respect, to the people who were, on the bad end of that. Here, even if it is just a gesture, it shows it was a cool amount of let's say cultural mindfulness to see in a game about a goose that steals keys.
Quick, now come up with your theories for how it's actually an elaborate symbolism.
I don't know. I think it's just a goose that steals keys and breaks brooms.
Aren't we all broken brooms in some way?
Absolutely. Oh man. Let's see here. That was me. Ben, do you have one?
That was the one I was going to say.
God damn it.
So I'm out.
Yeah.
I got one. And this one might be cheating a little bit. So everyone's struggling to come up with a straight up answer. But I was going to say Fulbright for making Gone Home. First off, and just putting a story into that powerful of a format and telling it in such a inspiring way is really cool. And then on top of that, they were brave enough to kind of stay home from PAX when they'd been accepted into the indie mega booth, and kind of with some of the bad rape joke kind of stuff that was going on that front.
Yeah.
So they were willing to. Yeah, specifically at that time. So they took a stand for what they believed in. They've told a story that just connects a lot of people empathically to something that they might not otherwise. And I appreciate them for that.
Nice. David, how about you?
Sure. So Digital Extremes actually does a fair amount of charity stuff. So, for example, I had to look up the details, but apparently for TennoCon 2019, they're partnering with the Canadian Mental Health Association.
Cool.
I know they do a number of things like that throughout the year. So, good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, so we found some. We found some good stuff there. I think that
there's good eggs.
Yeah, in contrast to the scale of what Blizzard and Riot now seem to be doing, it is it feels a little bit like weak tea.
Can I throw in a late entry?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Cards Against Humanity taking payment for nothing and then using that to give their employees a day off in the manufacturing that they had in China. That was nice.
Yeah. I generally I fall the 1 year where they just took money to dig a hole. I thought that was a little bit much. They generally do find good stuff to do with the money. Yeah. So that was this question. I'm going to do a little bit of I've got 4 free plays here from previous free play multiplayers. Just going to throw it out to the room. Christopher says, "What game or game world would you want turned into one of those giant theme parks?" I was thinking the other day about how cool it would be to walk around through a park version of Sigil from Torment. Sigil, rather.
Sigil. Well, Sigil or Sigil, or however it's pronounced, would be pretty cool.
Yes. I don't know how they would do it, though. I don't know how you would, how they would play out. What? It's a street that's pregnant and gives birth to an alley.
Well, I mean, strictly speaking, Planescape being the multiverse, doesn't that mean that every theme park is a Planescape theme park?
Yeah. It's just like every theme park is on the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
How about you, Dennis?
Gosh, what came to mind immediately was No Man's Sky. And that which is hard because there's not a specific curated world from that. But just the feeling of discovery and wanting to walk around and look at the, crazy things that you find.
It'd be cool to go on a No Man's Sky
Dennis,
safari.
Have you ever considered camping?
Yeah. No, that would be Don't Starve. So
you can bring food.
What? Been doing it all wrong. No, specifically the Anomaly, the new form of the Anomaly has a very theme park-esque feel when you come in. Like, it's this, you zoom in, it's like, oh, hey, everyone's here and kind of hanging out, and there's different stuff to do. So maybe I would love to see the Anomaly from No Man's Sky turned into a theme park.
No. How about you, David?
I got nothing. I don't know.
You can pass. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pass on this one.
Okay. Ben, how about you?
Probably because there's a link right above the questions, but Silent Hill Halloween theme park would be awesome.
God
I
damn
would
it.
sign up for that. Yeah.
No, Halloween Haunted House or a Silent Hill Haunted House would be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was going to be mine. I know it's not original, but it is the one. Yep, it is the one that I feel the most in my bones. Here's this other one. Speaking about feeling in my bones, Steven asks, "How obsessive are you guys at arranging your inventory in games?" I'm pretty obsessive, I would say. It's more. Yes, it feels good to arrange inventory in places where you have to do that. But also, I don't know, if I don't know where something is, I forget to use it. So in a game like RE4 or, if something is like a Diablo, like being able to know like, oh, that scroll isn't like hiding down here between two swords. It's up here with my scrolls, and I can mouse over each of them and say, oh, that might be useful. Like it feels like an ingredient of effective play to me. That's the way I justify my neurosis.
I would not have said I was neurotic about it until I played WoW. And then I completely was. Like, I need to know there are no gaps in my bag slots. And I feel incredibly stressed if there are empty slots in any of my bags. That I do not immediately fill. Like I need to, it's like I'm packing for real, and I need it to be all compacted down in my backpack.
Yeah.
To feel good about traveling with it. So, it's not just that. It's also like managing where stuff is in my bars across my screen, which I would kind of put as a subcategory of this.
Yeah.
I have spent an insane amount of time just determining where the most efficient places to put different abilities are, right hand bar, bottom left. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's not even like I'm power clicking or have a bunch of shortcuts set up on my keyboard. It's just, I like to know where things are.
Well, there are a lot of abilities that you get even at like modest levels in WoW.
Yeah.
That's worth doing. Especially just for building up muscle memory,
Yes.
Have you learned the secret of creating an alt, creating your own guild, and just using the guild inventory as your personal bank?
No, that I've not reached that level of efficiency.
Yeah. Somebody has a kitty cat.
That's me. I'm glad they are meowing and not puking.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So
good.
I think for me on this one, overall I am not, except that I am an extreme pack rat. So sometimes I will do organization just because the only way I can, not have my inventory be completely full of, say, crafting resources is to decide, all right, I'm going to have in my inventory, say exactly 20 of each resource, and just sell anything more than that comes in.
Yeah.
So, so sort of yes, sort of no. Also, on the previous one, I now have an answer. I think this would maybe at first blush sound a little crazy, but I think a Far Cry theme park could be pretty awesome. Just if it was like a massive game of laser tag.
Does the Far Cry extreme survival experience?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Also, one that would be pretty awesome and may just be that I want someone to remember that this world exists is Jade Empire.
Oh, okay, yeah. Ooh, Mass Effect Citadel would be a good one as well.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
You could have some really good Disney style rides with that.
Yes. Oh man. Let's see here. Another one. I don't know if you guys have an answer for this. It's real specific. But oh gosh, you asked this one. Sam asked, "What is your favorite garbage can in a video game?"
I do have an answer for this, actually.
So what's your answer?
It sprang immediately to mind. Do you remember when Burger King put out the Xbox video games? Like
Yes, Sneak King.
Yeah.
I was partial to
can.
Big Bumpin' was good. Big Bumpin' was good.
Yeah. But you could hide in a garbage can
Ooh.
in Sneaking. And follow people down alleyways and
then burn them.
The cover of the game or whatever is just the king hiding in a garbage can in this dark alley as this young girl is walking down the alley.
Mm-hmm. It's quite a bit. Sneak King and Untitled Goose Game actually have more in common than I would have thought. Yeah. Let's see.
It's just a reskin.
Sneaking also had a dedicated honk button.
Yeah.
I feel like there's probably some instance where a Deus Ex game had some really cool gimmick with a trash can or something like that I'm forgetting. But in the absence of actually remembering any of that, I'd say the incinerator for the weighted companion cube.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That is a very good one. Ben, do you have one?
No.
Okay. For me, in Mega Man Legends, in the shopping area, there is a can that you can kick around, and you can land it into a garbage can. And I don't think you get anything for doing that. You might get some money for it, but I spent a lot of time around that garbage can trying to kick that can into it.
Mega Man.
It's the little things in games that you just decide, this is my objective now, and you make your own fun and spend 15 hours on it.
I don't know that I spent 15 hours on it. It was just trying to find the right angle. It was probably more like
I'm trying to rationalize my trinket meal.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. No. You're not going to launder your bad decisions through me.
Damn it!
I cannot sanction this. Finally here, Root Bass. What games have helped you to cope with depression or hard times? Stardew Valley, my friend.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if this exactly answers it, but I do The Witness is a very relaxing and meditative game for me, so that's something that's nice if you want to calm down.
Yeah.
I'd say probably Warframe for me, just because that's a game that you very much can always go back to and just kind of do more thing.
Yeah. How about you, Demps?
Yeah. I feel like for me, this is more games in general. I can't pin it to one specific game, but I think, upon in self-reflection and all that stuff, I've found what really causes me to gravitate towards games when I'm feeling depressed or feeling stress. Mm-hmm. And it's just to inhabit a world where I know I can master the rules, or at least to inhabit a world where I know there's a finite amount of stuff going on is very stress relieving or helpful. I might not have every little piece of a game mastered, but I feel confident that if I just put in enough time or that, I could get there, Yeah. Whereas so many times in life, you just feel like I know this is more complex than I will ever be able to understand.
A video game will never throw up on your floor.
Right, yeah.
If you get to it fast enough, it's not that big of a deal.
But yeah, so there's just something about a masterable world, or a world in which I can eventually see everything there is, that is attractive as an escape every now and again when things are feeling overwhelming.
Yeah.
And yet you like No Man's Sky.
you can feel comfortable. You can, like, you are carving out your own little domain of control in No Man's Sky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never understood existentialism.
Yeah, I like existentialism as an affirming alternative to nihilism.
Okay, now we need to brainstorm this. Have you ever heard the joke or the jokes where it's like, did you hear the one about the pencil or the broken pencil? Never mind, it's pointless. Or did you hear the one about the balloon? Never mind, it's over your head. I feel like there's a, did you hear the one about existentialism? And then I don't know what the punchline is. So.
I don't know.
Write in on the Slack with your answers.
Yeah. We can provide a punchline for that. A good old fashioned Duckfeed joke kit. We provide you with the component pieces. Oh, man. Thank you, everybody. If you would like to participate in these, go to facebook.com/The Level Podcast and watch for the prompts to go up on Monday afternoons.
The end boss.
Now it is time for the end boss, where normally we talk about things that are exciting to us in video games, but there's not an awful lot going on news-wise right now, except for depressing things. So we're going to get that out of the way, the big story. Dennis, what is going on with these companies and the tricky problem of corporate free speech?
Yeah, this has been just a major letdown in my mental concept for several of these companies. Some I'm more surprised than others, but the genesis of this all is the pro-democracy protests happening in Hong Kong, where there was legislation proposed to open up extradition with China, which would have opened a whole can of worms in terms of China just being able to disappear people much easier than they already do. The protests were pretty harsh on that. They eventually withdrew the legislation, but it just kind of opened up this door of like things in Hong Kong are not nearly as free or democratic as they should be. And the protests about that have been ongoing. So that's the backdrop. A pro Hearthstone player from Hong Kong, his name is Blitzchung or Chung Wai, won a tournament in their Grandmasters series and used his interview to just speak out in favor of the Hong Kong protesters. He wore kind of the mask and face mask or mask and bandana that protesters often wear to escape facial recognition software, and just said, free Hong Kong, the revolution of our time, which is, the slogan of that. Not extreme, not crazy, not disruptive. But then came Blizzard's response. So they quickly cut away from it in the cast. And it was clear, they were worried about what had happened. They proceeded to suspend Blitzchung for a year, to take away his winnings from the tournament, and beyond that, to fire the two shoutcasters that were on screen with him. Note, the shoutcasters did nothing. They literally ducked out of the way when he did this. And they fired them as an example. Never has it been so clear that a company is sucking up to the Chinese overlords. I don't know any other way to say it.
I mean, so just to spell it out in just very, 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 very plain ways, Blizzard makes a lot of money in the Chinese market. This is true, actually, for a lot of companies as well. Big things. We saw this happen in the NBA as well. That complicates things when you are trying to let's say, live up to values or, let's just say values for one culture that might step on the toes of the authoritarian government.
Values and a culture or a government that doesn't have values.
Well, they very clearly value power and want to hold on to it and, see the ability to exert pressure on the free speech of anybody associated with Blizzard. So there is the argument that Blizzard can do this, this is not a, Blizzard is not the government. However, plenty of people have the right to not engage with Blizzard's products and to boycott Blizzard for kowtowing and not standing up for the people who are expressing pro-democracy sentiments.
Well, and I'm not even sure I'd say that. Yes, maybe legally they can do do that, but that doesn't make it any less immoral.
Oh no, legality has nothing to do with morality. I want to make sure it is a shitty and wrong and bad thing to do, and I think that it's just whatever. Just it is the right thing to do, but I don't know. That's capitalism. That is that is a company doing everything that it can to maintain the status quo for its profits, and not cut off a revenue stream at the expense of the people who create value for them, and at the expense of any kind of again democracy or values for representation, etc. They've sold out. They have sold out the idea of democracy by kowtowing to the Chinese government in this way.
To be clear, go ahead.
I was going to say I've found it hilarious, the irony of seeing like pro-capitalist Facebook groups like using this as a rallying cry to like see how bad socialism is. It's like the problem here is capitalism.
Yes, 100%. What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my good lord! And this isn't even like Blizzard didn't speak out against this stuff in Hong Kong or against the Chinese government. This wasn't that Blizzard isn't being loud enough about shouting down something that's wrong. That would be nice.
They silenced one of the big people who plays their games, and they chilled the speech of anybody else.
Yes,
they set a precedent.
Like it is. I wouldn't expect Blizzard to be out there on the forefront of campaigning for free speech in Hong Kong.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice, but I could see why
it'd be mad if they don't.
Yeah.
Well,
when you shut down anyone who does so hard, when you shut down anyone who does so hard, like it is mind-boggling to me. And again, it speaks crazy amounts about the level of influence that China has.
Yeah. When you are when you are indirectly acting as let's see here, an executive punishment arm of an authoritarian state because of your capitalist incentives or what have you, that's fucked up. And people are within their rights. People, I think that it is an imperative to disassociate from Blizzard and their products until it is made right.
And on that note, if you're looking for an alternative to Hearthstone, might I suggest Deck of Wonders?
Well, so I mean, and that's why you are tying you have tied the launch of your campaign to supporting organizations that provide help. For protesters,
specifically the 612 Humanitarian Relief Fund. This is a Hong Kong-based group, so this is like not outside help. This is the people in Hong Kong doing their thing to defray the legal and medical costs that protesters are racking up, unfortunately. And so 50% of the funds that I raise through this GoFundMe will go to that group, and then 50% will go towards the art and development for Deck of Wonders. If the big games aren't going to stand up and do something, then fine, maybe the small games will.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like we should at least give some credit to, maybe it was cynical, but I think it was Epic that came out and basically said, like, hey, you can make whatever political statements you want on our platform.
Cool. Yeah. But I guess Riot has also reserved the right to do something similar in regards to the people who are on contract with them for any kind of competitive play. There are a bunch of
watch or play League of Legends.
Yeah. It sucks.
Should we? I got a question. Following the same logic, should we boycott Google then? Because they do things like filtering out search results or blacklisting search results in China.
I think as much as possible.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. Well, I mean,
now we get into if you are so able, do that.
Yeah. It's
should we not watch any Disney movies because a lot of times they'll curtail or they'll make movies so that they'll do globally well.
That is all of Hollywood as well. They're doing preemptive censorship on stuff that won't play. Apple has delisted apps, or one specific app for tracking police movement in Hong Kong.
I think here's my thought is, like, I know that certain games will have different artwork for China because there's rules against showing skeletons.
Yes.
Those kind of cultural differences, I like, fine, that's wonderful, be culturally sensitive, that's whatever, that's great. But when it comes to shutting down people who are advocating for human rights, that's where the line gets very
the direct, the direct stuff, actually shutting down speech. I would say Apple has fallen on the wrong side of that. But I don't know. I'm not really in a position where I can get rid of my phone. And the other option is Google, which is also censoring results.
There's always the Libra.
Well, oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
I don't know what that word means.
There's basically a company that makes a phone that's entirely based around privacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very, very high quality phone. I mean, it's very much if you can afford it. But
Well, I mean, so I guess when it comes to, it all goes back to no ethical consumption, right? However, it is a relatively easy decision to make to play a different game other than the game that profits people who kowtow to strongmen.
Totally.
So I by and large agree with you guys, but I did try and bring up other points to consider, just for like devil's advocate points. One thing that I'm really not on board with the current meme status is depicting the Chinese president as Winnie the Pooh.
Why not?
For some reason, for me, that brings up like old like World War II like racist motivational posters. I just think it's weird. I don't like the idea of simplifying a person into like. I don't know, like I feel like it's overly reductionist, supplying someone into like an icon like that, and it's not really. I don't know. I don't think it contributes meaningfully to addressing what the problem is. Yeah,
it's a little bit. So the reason people do that is because he specifically says, "I am bothered by it." But I can see what you
bothered.
Oh, bother, yes. No, but I can see, like, I don't know, like, just if somebody is making, somebody could make a shitty and racist cartoon, using Winnie the Pooh as like cover for plausible deniability. Like, oh, I am depicting him like this because of this, when in reality there's this dog whistle side that goes alongside it. I'm fine trolling somebody, trolling an asshole who tramples on human rights, but I can see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, for some reason I have no problem with the pictures of Putin dressed up in like makeup and stuff like that. Yeah, but yeah,
that's weird. And anytime race can plausibly be factored into it, I can understand wanting to step lightly.
Yeah, shitty people can take this too far is also a reason to not do almost anything.
Yeah. So we talked about a couple of different ways. We talked about boycott, consumer actions that you can do. David, you have a story here that is related to this about what back in the 60s they used to call culture jamming. What are people doing with Overwatch and Mei?
Yeah, so people are basically Mei in Overwatch is a character in the game who is Chinese, and I think I don't know, they add characters like every other week. But last time I checked, I think the only character that's Chinese in the game. But she has kind of become a symbol or a source of memery for the Hong Kong freedom movement. Partially I think just to kind of have a symbol, but also with the hope that China has a tendency to ban anything that becomes a symbol of something they don't like. So they're hoping to use this to potentially get Overwatch or Blizzard as a whole banned in China.
Yeah, which would have been a potential result if Blizzard had not banned and silenced the what's a Blitzchung, right? So like, all right, so that's how you want to play. You're not in control of this. We can work as a fan base to make this to make what you were trying to avoid happen anyway.
Yeah,
and this
I
is
think
not just like a internet theorizing. This is like May posters are starting to show up on the 6 o'clock news during Hong Kong protests.
Right. And I think it's a thing where, if, I've read some commentary and this basically point out the fact that, if they were successful, that could potentially change the calculus for, these corporations, because then, if they don't do the right thing, they, still have the consequences maybe, but they've also alienated their Western audience.
Yeah. Probably as well they should.
Well, and the NBA stands as an example that China is not nearly as strong on some of this stuff as they give the impression they are.
Yeah.
After the NBA, I think it was one coach made some pro Hong Kong contests, comments, and then walked them back, or the NBA had him walk them back. Then same outrage cycle happened. China has abruptly reversed their stance and has made sure that they don't miss some key events related to promoting the NBA, because they want the money too. And if they actually have to follow through on some of their threats, or we will not tolerate what have yous, they're saying no to profit as well. So. Yeah. Hey, look, capitalism working both ways.
Yeah, it can kind of cut both ways. I mean, it shows a little bit of the hypocrisy on the part of the Chinese party, the Chinese ruling party. I think that just in terms of again using these memes and stuff to get China to turn on Blizzard anyway, I think that the praxis here, I think that the lesson is, hey, if you try to appease strongmen, guess what? They can still fuck you. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing trying to kowtow to, fascism under a different name? They're going to come after you next anyway. Like
it's like all the, longtime, members of Trump's cabinet. Oh wait, there aren't any.
Right, it's a lot of acting, and I think that there possibly is a counterpoint to this, saying like, hey, this might punish people who are working at Blizzard, who are not responsible for these decisions, etc. There is a resistance inside Blizzard. There are people who have either left, or there are silent protests that are happening. Like one of their pieces of like installation art talking about like, oh, we're global citizens or whatever, was defaced and covered up. There is silent dissent within the company. I don't know. I think that at a certain point, it is incumbent on you to decide to make a decision about what kind of machine you want to be a part of.
Yeah, and it's all the what are you able to feasibly do, and not crucifying people who are dependent on their job at Blizzard, or dependent on whatever. Kibler, who's a popular Hearthstone streamer, I think it was him, did it a really good way, I thought, because he posted, he's like, hey, I'm boycotting Hearthstone, and I acknowledge that not everyone can afford to take, skip tournaments or whatever, because you're barely scraping by. Yep. So he's like, so here's my offer, Blizzard, I will start playing again when you fix this shit, essentially. Yeah. Almost like, hey, I'm big enough that can I dangle myself as a carrot, which as I say that phrase, it sounds way more erotic than I intended.
Getting that sexy capitalism.
Let me dangle my carrot here to get Blizzard excited.
Stop
anyway,
saying it like that.
Oh, jeez. So, do we have anything else to say about this? I've got one last thing, but it's not necessarily revelatory or anything. No, I'll just say it. Fuck authoritarianism. Fuck anything that steps on democracy. Fuck strongmen. Gosh,
and free Hong Kong.
Yeah, free Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can we also get a government system where people can like accurately represent themselves, so that we could actually do something about this situation?
Yeah, that'd be good. I would like it if we had, if democracy wasn't also attack under here. It wasn't under attack over here too. Yeah. Fuck anything that stands in the way of democracy. God damn it. That's all I've got on this. Anybody else have anything before I
That sums it up, man.
Yeah. Let's see here. Ben, you have another depressing story that I almost brought, but I didn't know if it would like step on. I figured maybe you would do this because I knew you were trying to make this happen.
Another one. Yeah, we got another like sad story. This one's very personal for me.
Yeah, you were trying to make this happen, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. So the story is this. Silent Hill is going to be released on a slot machine. It was just announced recently. I think next week is G2E. It might be this week. But it's the big slot machine. Well, there's a lot of conventions they have, but this is the big one for America that they have once a year. It's held in Las Vegas. There's usually like bigger announcements. They showcase all the games that are going to come out the next year, and then there's a lot of meetings and trying to sell stuff. Anyway, one of the announcements from Konami was that they're doing Silent Hill on a slot machine. So this is sad for a couple of reasons. It's very bittersweet, I guess. I remember when I interviewed with them like 7 years ago or 8 years ago, I suggested this in my interview. I'm like, oh, this would be a great thing to make or whatever. So it's weird because like this is something that I thought would be a really cool idea. But now when I see it, I'm like very depressed by it 8 years later. Just because it's like, and I think I'm past the non-disparagement agreement with Konami, so I think I can say all this. I'm pretty sure. But it's just like, I don't know. It just seems like such a short-sighted like product, and it's like done without any care for the original material at all.
It's kind of just a coat of paint, right?
Yeah, and so I think this is kind of like the IP graveyard. Whenever like the company's done making a game or whatever, just waits a couple of years and then it gives it to the slot machine side, and they just put out whatever game that is. So they did this with like Contra and a couple other games.
What if they went really meta on this and like, you know, the Silent Hill games are about, or at least a number of them, you know, what the people see in Silent Hill is kind of a manifestation of, you know, their inner demons and whatnot. So, I mean, I would love if they made this where it's Silent Hill manifesting someone's crippling gambling addiction.
I don't think the industry likes to think about that. Outside of the mandatory signage and interruptions that tell people. Yeah, well, whatever.
Perhaps artists or designers might be trying to embed that theme, but probably not managers or anything above that, I would guess.
Yeah.
But even just looking at a screenshot of it, like it has like the miners from the movie of Silent Hill juxtaposed with what looks like James from Silent Hill 2.
So there are two of them. Silent Hill The Return is based on Silent Hill 3, and then Silent Hill Escape is based on Silent Hill Downpour, everybody's favorite entry in the series. And the thing that looks like the miner is actually the Pyramid Head stand-in. It's the Boogeyman. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
See, I'm just struck by the degree to which I've played none of these games. Silent Hill Lady looks a great deal like Sherry from RE6.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, that's Heather. Yeah. No, there are a couple of casinos here in Ohio. I don't know if this will make it to any of them. I'd be curious to play it. Like I could film it and turn it into a thing for Hexcrank.
Abject stuffing.
I could do it for Hexcrank. But like this is not the first time they've done this. A few years back, I think we talked about the the video trailer for the erotic Castlevania pachinko machine that they put out. This is just what Konami stopped making. They stopped making video games by and large, and they focused on all their gambling stuff. And this just happens to be the IP, the intellectual property that they can mine to turn into games. Yeah.
Yep.
See, I just wonder. I wouldn't think there would be that much carryover of like people who are enough into gambling to gamble, but not enough into gambling that liking Silent Hill would get them to get, like, I don't know. Yeah. Like I feel like most of your target market, like, the game doesn't have to be themed off of anything.
And similar to like casino theming that goes on in Las Vegas, a lot of the games kind of have like, here's like 8 templates that we can make for a game. Pick one of those and make the game. Because it's like, these games will do well, these types of games will not do well. And like spooky, like haunted theme games or whatever, typically do not do well. So that's why like you won't see a lot of those, I guess, in casinos. IP is, there's plenty of IP games, so sometimes they'll do stuff like Walking Dead and stuff like that. Yeah. But like, yeah. So it's like
seems
another
like
reason.
most of them I've seen, the overall marketing tends to be boobs.
It's a through line.
Be true. There's a lot of things that are not progressive about the casino environment, but that could be one of them as well. But yeah, there's like a lot of theming around like, it's like Hawaiian theme or like Egyptian theme or like this, it's like, it's just weird how it feels very similar to the movie industry now too, where it's like all these things are like calculated bets where it's like, all right, we need to make this much money off of this product, so we're going to play it as safe as possible and do like what we know that works, Yeah. I guess I'm more upset about the Hollywood industry doing that than I am the casino industry doing that.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, the casino industry, that's literally their job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I could see, maybe I'm projecting my own values onto other people, but I could see a certain amount of nostalgia. People would say, "Oh yeah, I remember that movie. I remember those, maybe those games or whatever." There might be some crossover for that. And also, like, I know, I've got people in my family, who play slot machines. Like, they used to go down to Wheeling, now they go down to Columbus, and talk about like, hey, how do you pick the machine that you want to play? It's like, oh, it depends on the bet and depends on if I can understand the rules for it really easily, and is there a weight for it? Like the theming doesn't necessarily matter. So if this is a good game that matches those, then it will probably work.
See,
there's not a wait for it.
Yes.
I feel like what I don't get is what I would want from a slot machine is like the most badass way to interact with it. I don't know. So and then when I do occasionally win, the most badass way for it to
dispense the coins.
Yeah. So like I think my ideal would be some sort of like steampunk device that I'm like turning cranks and stuff like that to place my bets, and then when I when I win it, like, I don't know, air guns coins into my bucket or something.
There is a machine in Vegas, in old downtown, at this casino called the D, that's a horse racing machine, like a mechanical horse racing machine, and it says what the odds of each horse are, and you can put coins whichever one you want to bet on, and then it dispenses coins like out like an old time slot machine if you win.
Yeah, it does just print out a receipt.
Like, I would never play a modern slot machine because they took away all of the things that made me as a kid like really want to play a slot machine.
You can't pull the arm, the coins don't come out.
What you're saying is slot machines just aren't attractive enough to children?
Yep.
I'm going to do mine real quick. This is sorry, it's breaking from the theme. This is a little bit positive, but Steam is going to be putting out a beta feature in about a week. Let me look at the name of it. It's called Remote Play Together, which
that's a horrible name.
It's descriptive, but what it is, it's a way to play normally couch co-op games over the internet. So, there are plenty of games that don't have actual multiplayer modes built in, but they do have couch co-op built into them because netcode is hard. And I could see why a smaller developer or a what was the about?
Is I empathizing? Netcode is hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just it's like building on that multiplayer into your game. It's a big lift. But Steam is saying, hey, we can build this into Steamworks. We can build it into the platform here, and actually use the streaming service, like the streaming APIs that we have, to basically fake. To fake a remote person being in the same room, so that people can play these these games together that otherwise they could not play.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I just and like that. Like this is more common than it might initially seem, especially in smaller scale games. And it is cool that they are that they're trying to make that kind of play possible for more people and taking a lot of burden off of smaller developers.
Yeah, that's also exciting too, because future game development, they could just do it all on one box and not have to worry about the multiplayer component at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it works.
And I know there's actually been a number of times in like recent Steam sales where I was looking at games to like, you know, I was going to buy a copy for myself and someone else to co-op, and then I saw that they were only local co-op, so I just didn't buy them at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a good idea. I don't know why it took them so long. Maybe they just had to wait and see if the wait and see about the latency and such. They had to get the back end technology to work pretty well. But this is an instance of a feature being added to Steam that's actually good, as opposed to weird and alienating.
Nothing being added.
Yeah. So cool. How do you guys feel about buttoning it up?
La button.
The credit.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this episode of The Level. You know the usual stuff that you can do for the show. Dennis, I will let you get the plug at the end here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Deck of Wonders GoFundMe at bit.ly/DOWGFM. Deck of Wonders GoFundMe. Please, donate yourself if you can. Signal boost it to whoever likes either card games or democracy.
Yeah.
And
Well, wonders.
50% of whatever I raise will go towards the 612 Humanitarian Relief Fund, which is like a Hong Kong native fund for supporting protesters.
Cool. Yeah. So I've been Kole Ross. You can watch my streams on Twitch at Duckfeed.tv.
I've been Dennis Furia on Twitter at Deck of Wonders with underscores in between, or on Twitch at twitch.tv/Deck of Wonders.
I continue to be David Minesmith for now.
And I've been Ben Merkel at Merkleby on Twitch.
And stick around for some titles. All right. I only have two, and it's only because people call them out. The first is the fancy coffee corridor, and then these holes contain multitudes.
I had these holes contain multitudes as well.
Okay.
I also had Trinket Mule and Dangle My Carrot.
So I had Let Me Dangle My Carrot. I had, I wasn't sure quite how to best render this, but either his name is Kevin or Kevin cannot be a vampire. And I had, I'm sorry, this one's a little bit positive.
Okay.
I just have one. I have Sexy Capitalism.
I like Sexy Capitalism.
Oh, man, the dark horse.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm down for Sexy Capitalism.
Let's do it. Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm going to go.
Damn. All right. See you guys.
All right, see you.
Night,
Take
guys.
care.
Have a good week.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.